Hare Krishna. We welcome you to the short recitation of selected verses from the Bhagavad Gita. Here are some benefits and glories of hearing or reading the verses of the Bhagavad Gita as mentioned by Sri Adi Shankaracharya. 1. If one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then, by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of his past misdeeds will not act upon him. 2. One may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water, but if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of the Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. 3. In the last days, whoever hears the Gita recitation or discusses the meaning of the Gita certainly attains moksha, which is liberation or release from material bondage. Any place that the Bhagavad Gita is chanted, that place becomes a tirtha, a holy place. Because the Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one need not read any other Vedic literature. One need only attentively and regularly hear and read Bhagavad Gita. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, will suffice because it is the essence of all Vedic literatures and especially because it was spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. So let us chant the Gita every day and earn the blessings of Sarvottam Hari. In this recitation, we will focus on Chapter 2, which is titled Contents of the Gita Summarized. We'll start with verse 2.7, which is the first turning point where Arjuna surrenders to Krishna and now reverentially addresses Krishna as his spiritual master rather than just a friend. Some select verses will be recited in Sanskrit and their translation will follow in English. All other verses will be recited in their English as translated by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Purports or explanations to the verses will be recited as relevant. So let's begin. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from the Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2, Contents of the Gita Summarized, Translations and Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Verse 2.7, Arjuna says, Karpanya doshopahata svabhava prachami tvam dharma samudha cheta yat shreya shran nishchitam bruhitan me shishyash deham sadi mam tvam prapannam. Translation: Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Purport: By nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. In every step there is perplexity, and therefore it behooves one to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give one proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. All Vedic literatures advise us to approach a bona fide spiritual master to get free from the perplexities of life which happen without our desire. They are like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. Similarly, the world's situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear without our wanting such confusion. No one wants fire, and yet it takes place, and we become perplexed. The Vedic wisdom therefore advises that in order to solve the perplexities of life and to understand the signs of the solution, one must approach a spiritual master who is in the disciplic succession. One should not, therefore, remain in material perplexities, but should approach a spiritual master. This is the purpose of this verse. Verse 2.8, translation. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I am not able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. Verse 2.9 Sanjay Uvacha Evam Uktva Rishikesham Gudakesha Parantapa Na Yotsya Iti Govindam Uktva Tushnim Babuvaha. Translation. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Verse 2.10, translation. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. Verse 2.11, translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Purport. The body is born and is destined to be vanquished today or tomorrow. Therefore, the body is not as important as the soul. One who knows this is actually learned, and for him, there is no cause of lamentation regardless of the condition of the material body. 2.12 Natvevaham jatunasam natvam nehe janadipa nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamata param. Translation. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Purport. In the Vedas, it is said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the maintainer of innumerable living entities. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is also, by his plenary portions, alive in the heart of every living entity. The Lord says clearly that he himself, Arjuna, and all the kings who are assembled on the battlefield are eternally individual beings, and that the Lord is eternally the maintainer of the individual living entities, both in their conditioned and in their liberated situations. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Individual Person, and Arjuna, the Lord's eternal associate, and all the kings assembled there are individual eternal persons. Their individuality existed in the past, and their individuality will continue in the future without interruption. Therefore, there is no cause for lamentation for anyone. Verse 2.13 Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuyate. Translation. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body, from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Purport. Since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet, the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. This individual soul finally changes the body at death and transmigrates to another body. And since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, neither material or spiritual, there was no cause for lamentation by Arjuna on account of death. Rather, he should rejoice for their changing bodies from old to new ones, thereby rejuvenating their energy. 2.14 Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkhadaha agama paino nityas tam stitikshashva bharata. Translation. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception or sign of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being distracted. 216. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. Purport. There is no endurance of the changing body. That the body is changing every moment by the actions and reactions of the different cells is admitted by modern medical science, and thus growth and old age are taking place in the body. But the spirit soul exists permanently, remaining the same despite all changes of the body and the mind. That is the difference between matter and spirit. By nature, the body is ever changing and the soul is eternal. Verse 2.17. Avinashi tu tadvidhi yena sarvam idam tatam vinasham avyayasyasya na kaschit kartum arhate. Translation. That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. Purport. This verse more clearly explains the real nature of the soul, which is spread all over the body. Anyone can understand what is spread all over the body. It is consciousness. The soul is described as 1/10,000th part of the upper portion of the hair point in size. The Shvetashvatara Upanishad 5.9 confirms this. When the upper point of a hair is divided into 100 parts, and again each of such parts is further divided into 100 parts, each such part is the measurement of the dimension of the spirit soul. Therefore, the individual particle of spirit soul is a spiritual atom smaller than the material atoms, and such atoms are innumerable. This very small spiritual spark is the basic principle of the material body, and the influence of such a spiritual spark is spread all over the body. Any layman can understand that the material body minus consciousness is a dead body, and this consciousness cannot be revived in the body by any means of material administration. Therefore, consciousness is not due to any amount of material combination but to the spirit soul. Verse 2.18 translation. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata. Purport. The material body is perishable by nature. It may perish immediately, or it may do so after 100 years. It is a question of time only. There is no chance of maintaining it indefinitely. But the spirit soul is so minute that it cannot even be seen by an enemy, to say nothing of it being killed. As mentioned in the previous verse, it is so small that no one can have any idea how to measure its dimension. So from both viewpoints, there is no cause of lamentation, because the living entity as he is cannot be killed, nor can the material body be saved for any length of time or permanently protected. As sunlight maintains the entire universe, so the light of the soul maintains this material body. As soon as the spirit soul is out of this material body, the body begins to decompose. Therefore, it is the spirit soul which maintains this body. The body itself is unimportant. Verse 2.20. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuya ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Translation. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Purport. Qualitatively, the small atomic fragmental part of the Supreme Spirit is one with the Supreme. he undergoes no changes like the body. The soul does not take birth, and the soul does not die. He is eternal, ever existing, and primeval. The soul does not at any time become old as the body does. The changes of the body do not affect the soul. The soul does not deteriorate like a tree. The soul has no byproduct either. The soul is full of knowledge, or full always with consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is the symptom of the soul. Even if one does not find the soul within the heart where he is situated, one will understand the presence of the soul simply by the presence of consciousness. The consciousness of the individual soul is prone to be forgetful. When he is forgetful of his real nature, he obtains education and enlightenment from the superior lessons of Krishna. But Krishna is not like the forgetful soul. If so, Krishna's teachings of Bhagavad Gita would be useless. There are two kinds of souls, namely the minute particle soul, which is Anu Atma, and the super soul, which is the Vibhu Atma. This is also confirmed in the Katha Upanishad 1.2.20 in this way. Both the super soul Paramatma and the atomic soul Jivatma are situated on the same tree of the body within the same heart of the living being, and only one who has become free from all material desires as well as lamentations can, by the grace of the Supreme, understand the glories of the soul. Krishna is the fountainhead of the super soul also, as it will be disclosed in the following chapters, and Arjuna is the atomic soul, forgetful of his real nature. Therefore, he requires to be enlightened by Krishna or by his bona fide representative, the spiritual master. Verse 2.22, translation. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Purport. Change of the body by the atomic individual soul is an accepted fact. Even modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of the soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, have to accept continuous changes of body which appear from childhood to boyhood, and from boyhood to youth, and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in the previous verse, 2.13. Transference of the atomic individual soul to another body is made possible by the grace of the super soul. The super soul fills the desire of the atomic soul as one friend fulfills the desire of another. The Vedas compare the soul and the super soul to two friendly birds sitting on the same tree. One of the birds, the individual atomic soul, is eating the fruit of the tree, and the other bird, Krishna, is simply watching his friend. Of these two birds, one is captivated by the fruits of the material tree, while the other is simply witnessing the activities of his friend. Krishna is the witnessing bird and Arjuna is the eating bird. Although they are friends, one is still the master and the other is the servant. Forgetfulness of this relationship by the atomic soul is the cause of one's changing his position from one tree to another or from one body to another. The Jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material world, but as soon as he agrees to accept the other bird as the supreme spiritual master, as Arjuna agreed to do by voluntary surrender unto Krishna for instruction, the subordinate bird immediately becomes free from all lamentations. Verse 2.23, translation. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Verse 2.24, translation. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. 2.25, translation. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. Purport. As described previously, the magnitude of the soul is so small for our material calculation that he cannot be even seen by the most powerful microscope. Therefore, he is invisible. As far as the soul's existence is concerned, no one can establish his existence experimentally beyond the proof of Shruti, or Vedic wisdom. We have to accept this truth because there is no other source of understanding the existence of the soul. Unlike the bodily changes, there is no change in the soul. As eternally unchangeable, the soul remains atomic in comparison to the infinite Supreme Soul. The Supreme Soul is infinite and the atomic soul is infinitesimal. Therefore, the infinitesimal soul, being unchangeable, can never become equal to the infinite soul or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Verse 2.27, translation: One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. Purport: One has to take birth according to one's activities of life, and after finishing one term of activities, one has to die to take birth for the next. In this way, one is going through one cycle of birth and death after another without liberation. Verse 2.28 Avyaktadini bhutani vyakta madhyani bharata avyakta nidhanani eva tatra ka paridevana. Translation: All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Purport: If we accept the Vedic conclusion as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, that these material bodies are perishable in due course of time, but that the soul is eternal, then we must remember always that a body is like a dress. Therefore, why lament the changing of a dress? Verse 2.30 Dehi nityam avadhyoyam dehe sarvasya bharata tasmad sarvani bhutani na tvam sochutumarhasi. Translation: O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. Purport: The Lord now concludes the chapter of instruction on the immutable spirit soul. In describing the immortal soul in various ways, Lord Krishna establishes that the soul is immortal and the body is temporary. On the authority of Sri Krishna, one has to believe that there is a soul different from the material body. Verse 2.48, translation: Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Verse 2.49, translation: O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. Verse 2.50 Buddhi yukto jahatiha ube sukritra dushkrite tasmad yogaya yujyasva yoga karmashu kaushalam. Translation: A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad actions even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. Purport: Since time immemorial, each living entity has accumulated the various reactions of his good and bad work. As such, he is continuously ignorant of his real constitutional position. One's ignorance can be removed by the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, which teaches one to surrender unto Lord Krishna in all respects and become liberated from the chained victimization of action and reaction, birth after birth. Arjuna is therefore advised to act in Krishna consciousness, the purifying process of resultant action. Verse 2.51 Karma jam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishina janma bandha vinirmukta padam gachanti anamayam. Translation: By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back to Godhead. Purport. Owing to ignorance, one does not know that this material world is a miserable place where there are dangers at every step. But one who understands his real constitutional position as the eternal servitor of the Lord and thus knows the position of the personality of Godhead, engages himself in the transcendental loving service of the God. Consequently, he becomes qualified to enter into the Vaikuntha planets where there is neither material, miserable life nor the influence of time and death. To know one's constitutional position means to know also the sublime position of the Lord. Based on the topic of the soul, we will stop here in chapter 2. Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Shu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Sankhya Yogo Nama Dvitiya Adhyayaha. Glories of the Bhagavad Gita as per Sri Adi Shankaracharya. There need be only one holy scripture, the divine Gita, sung by Lord Shri Krishna, only one worshipable Lord, Lord Shri Krishna, only one mantra, his holy names, and only one duty, which is devotional service unto that supreme worshipable Lord, Lord Shri Krishna. Make it a part of your life's routine to read at least one verse of Bhagavad Gita along with the purport written by Srila Prabhupada. Your life will become glorious. Let's all chant together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you for your attention. Hari Bol.